Hey, what's up, everybody? It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. I'm your host, Brendan Abbott, and my two co-hosts, Carly Lewis over there to the far right, and Rashad Pinnell to my left. We're bringing you KBR Sports and WODU Studios, the best in college radio. We also got our guest here today, Rudy Henderson. And make sure you guys tune into us every Monday, Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and Eastern Time. And also listen to us on Rabble TV, Spreaker, and iTunes also. How you guys doing this morning?
Good, good, good. All good.
Yep,
Ready to have my one shining moment.
One
good.
shot, the ball is tipped. Tired over here.
Word.
Don't forget to tweet us questions and comment on YouTube video.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Khalid. There you go. All right, y'all. Let's get
Hold it
right into
down.
it. The topics for today consist of both national championship games, men and women. And we'll also get into a little bit of Greg Hardy and the comments he made to Adam Schefter. And then we'll get into the NBA Hall of Fame with Shaquille O'Neal, Yao Ming, and Allen Iverson being the headliners for that 2016 class. And then the Golden State Warriors lost yet last night to the Timberwolves and how that pursuit for 73 is looking right now. But yeah, guys, to jump right into it, the national championship games with the women winning last night and then the men winning a Monday night. It was exciting to see that especially in the men's game that the hype it lived up to the hype entirely. Like it didn't disappoint. It was everything we all hoped it would be. Villanova took the win 77-74. A lot of people saw them as underdogs, but it was a game that nobody really saw. Well, some people saw the outcome coming. I remember we talked about it and we were saying now this one like would win a 7 game series, but Villanova could win. Just all they need to do is win one game. So, what do you guys think of this game and how Villanova won it? Rashad, I'll start with you. What do you think?
The game came down basically to whoever had the ball last. That's the way the game was running pretty much the whole game. It was evened out. Each team always had their runs at some point in the game. UNC had the first run starting off in the first half. Then second half, they came out a little dry. Villanova came out on fire, had their great run, and then took a late run at the end of the game for UNC to put themselves in position. But it kind of has like basically everybody looked at it. It's going to come down to whoever had the ball in the last possession was going to score as win the game. And looking at it, knowing how efficient Villanova is, if you know they have the ball last possession, more than likely the ball's going in. So you can't do nothing about a team that's shooting 70% throughout the tournament, shooting 50% against UNC after coming off a 70% game. It's just that team was clicking at the right time.
Okay, Kylie, what do you think?
I think Villanova won this because one, they had great 2 point defense. I think the they held UNC to like 30% from the 2 point range. And it forced them a whole lot of mid range jumpers and longer range shots. I think that helped them, win a little bit. They also, I think this is it got so close is because Chris Jenkins set out early in the first half because of his fouls. So, but with the combined scoring of Ryan Arcidia Kono, I think that's his name.
Archie Diacono.
Arcidia. Okay, you got that one. Phil Booth and Chris Jenkins. It definitely helped them what you call it get that win. I think they had somewhat control, but Marcus Page just came through in the second half and just came in with his 17 points in that second half to get the game to where it was at the end, and then that off balance 3 point shot, and then finally Chris Jenkins with his amazing buzzer beating three.
All right, Rudy, what do you think about the game?
I love watching the game. It was one of the reasons that you just love to watch sports in general. It was a great game. It was back and forth the entire way. Nobody was getting blown out and like came back. It was literally a back and forth affair the entire game. And although you hate to see a team lose like that, as far as on that game winning shot, the shot in itself was a great shot, and it just followed up. I would argue an even crazier shot by Marcus Page. So it was one of the best games I've seen in a long time, college or NBA, and it really did the hype justice. This is one of the first years where it did the hype justice. Usually they hype up the game really big, and then one team sort of ends up. I won't say they'll get smacked, but it won't be as close as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising because I mean, I thought because UNC went 11 of 17 from 3 point range, And when you shoot 64%, or rather say 65% from 3-point range, it seems like you're destined to win the game. And you said Villanova shot 57% from 3-point range, and their defense they just played great defense. I mean, they limited Bryce Johnson. They took away what UNC does best, which is their inside game. But then UNC brought it from the outside game, and that's essentially what I thought was going to help them get the win. But then Villanova just wasn't going for it, and it's just crazy to see just the overall stats of the game and everything. Like Bryce Johnson had 14 points. He was 6 of 10, and normally this man is like almost nearly averages 20 points a game. And then you have Archie Diacono that stepped up. You have Hart that stepped up. You know, like Kyle was saying, you have Phil Booth who stepped up 20 points off the bench. It was just great shot making by these guys, and they deserved it, especially with Chris Jenkins knocking down that late shot. Do you guys feel as though UNC holds some capability of allowing Chris Jenkins to be able to get that walk-up shot? I know a lot of people are saying that because the game was tied 74-74, and people were saying Bryce Johnson sagged off into the paint to protect the paint. So do you guys feel as though in that situation, UNC kind of had like a little mental lapse, or is just great play call by Villanova?
I think in situations like this, we're always going to try and find a way to assign blame to someone, or something could have been done or this or that. But in the heat of the moment, like, they probably had certain assignments. I don't blame Bryce for going to the paint, because most teams, I know how I am and how I would want to be coached is there's enough time left for somebody to get in there, get in the paint, and try and get fouled and win this on free throws. So I think that was the smart move. And it's not like Jenkins didn't have a hand in his face. Like, he shot it over.
Isaiah Hicks was right there.
Isaiah Hicks is right there. He shot it over somebody. So I don't know what it is that certain people are thinking about. Like, North Carolina just went and just let him shoot the ball. It was a great shot over a defender.
Like, over a 7-footer.
Exactly, over a 7-footer. So no, I don't think there's anything more they could have done. I think they did what they could have done, and that was the outcome. That's what happened.
Okay, Khalid, what do you think?
Same thing. I mean, you can't really give any blame to UNC. It was just, you just gotta attribute that great shot to Chris Jenkins. I mean, he shot it over a defender, and as far as he was from the 3-point line, I mean, it was just an amazing shot. And yeah, you can't really put blame on UNC because, I mean, they, like Rudy said, they had this specific assignments. They might have been in a position where they thought they could get the ball back quickly and could make a quick point or whatever. But I mean, it just happened that Chris Jenkins had that golden shot right there.
All right, Rashad.
I mean, there's nothing wrong to blame that. Bryce Johnson did what he's supposed to do by sagging into the paint, because as easily as you see that this Villanova team can easily break a press and get easier transition points so quick. 4 seconds is a lot of time for that team. So he did the right thing. Isaiah Hicks, I understand, like, if you look at it, he kind of like backed off a little when Ryan Arcianoto, the arc decided to, he kind of like lowered his shoulder like he was going to drive, and it kind of, because the way what Joel Berry was positioned at, it kind of forced Isaiah Hicks to sack off a little. So when the dump off pass, he was a little far off, but he was still enough to contest. So I mean, you can't do nothing wrong. You just have two great players making great plays there, and that's what happened.
See, I seen a lot of people, like, when they analyze this last play, they talk about when some, I forgot who came and set the pick for Archie Diacono, but they said that on that play, Hicks was a little far. He should have showed more, because then instead of Archie Diacono being able to keep going straight forward, he would have had to go more east-west kind of thing. So it would have took more time off the clock. I mean, it's really micro analyzing at this point, but that's the way they saw it. That's the way I heard them say. I mean, I agree that he just hit a great shot, but that's the standpoint a lot of these guys are coming from. They're saying that if they would have showed more on the pick and roll, that possibly there could have been more seconds coming off the clock, so he wouldn't have gotten easy a shot, and then it would have put Hicks in a position where if he would have forced him to go east-west, then he would have seen Jenkins coming up the court right behind him. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was a great shot made. But congratulations to Villanova at the end, for real. And man, they got classes off for the win too. Villanova canceled classes because of the win. Yeah, man. Then going on to the women's game, UConn continues this reign of dominance with 82-50 win over Syracuse. Breonna Stewart wins her 4th most outstanding player in the national championship. Gino Auriemma gets his 11th championship. He's never lost in any of his championship visits. Breonna Stewart is the reigning 3-time AP Player of the Year. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of just UConn's dominance and this win? I mean, they had 3 graduating seniors now. Mariah Jefferson, Breonna Stewart, of course, and then Morgan Tux. What did you guys think about this game? Rashad, we'll start with you. What do you think?
I mean, it basically shows that UConn is a dynasty. It shows that you have potentially the greatest coach, one of the greatest coaches of all time, coaching you players that know how to play as a team. As they're saying earlier, he doesn't focus on bringing in those people who want the starlight and spotlight, because they showed when Breonna Stewart signed her letter of intent to come there. It wasn't like with the hats and everything like that. It was just right at her house and stuff like that. So it shows what kind of players that he looks for and what he turns them into be, how great they are. And it just shows just how great of a program that is and how much of a dynasty there are.
All right, Rudy, what did you think?
Absolutely nothing. This was expected to me. There's no shock. There's no surprise. Congratulations to Syracuse women's basketball for making it there, but didn't really expect them to win the game. Didn't really expect them to be in the game. And that's essentially what happened. They lost by 31 points. So there's not much there was no shining moment for them. The coming out of the tunnel was their shining moment. When they stepped on the court, it was a nightmare. It was literally.
I mean, they had a nice 16-0 run in the game. I mean, if they didn't start off slow, it's not really starting off slow. You just have a great team doing what they do.
Exactly.
That's the reason they went undefeated.
It's not starting off slow. It's more so getting locked down. And I don't know. It was just really expected to me. So, I mean, I think that UConn's a great team and they will always be a great team. But other than that, there's no shock and awe. There's no surprise here. This is something I can say probably 90% of people expected. So congratulations. I'm glad that Syracuse showed up, but another championship for UConn.
All right, Khalid, what did you think about them winning?
It's just another win. I mean, they undefeated throughout the whole tournament, throughout the whole season, and they come to the championship game, and you think they ain't gonna win? I mean, yeah, UConn is just dominant. I mean, they have great players on their team, amazing coaching, and there's nothing really any other team can do. You know how they say there's certain matchups for people, like we say for the Warriors. There's matchups with them where they may lose against the Spurs at home. Ain't no matchup according to UConn. They just whoop everybody, and the way they just blow out these teams is just crazy. Congratulations to UConn's women's team for winning, for beating the crap out of. For beating the crap out of.
Yeah. It's honestly crazy because you look at it, and Breonna Stewart's dominance is what she's done at UConn in her time there. She's been the most accomplished UConn player. I mean, she's even over Diana Taurasi, and then she's the only women's player to win 4 outstanding player awards in the Final Four. And the only other person to do it was in men's basketball, and that was Lou Alcindor, who is now known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And so you look at those kind of things, and you're just like, wow, they've really been that dominant. And the last team to win 4 consecutive NCAA championships was John Wooden's teams of the 1960s going onto 1973. And you look at things like that, and you're just like, wow. I mean, they won every game this season by double digits. Mm-hmm. They won 75 consecutive games. All of them have been by double digits. And you just sit there. And it's not like it's just Breonna Stewart. I mean, she had 24 points, 10 rebounds, and it's 6 assists. But you look at it, it's like a whole culmination of teams that just of the players, and it's honestly you give it up to them, because when you can keep this level of greatness, especially with Gino, you give it up to him, especially because when you coach this level of greatness for so long, it makes it worthwhile watching these games till you see their greatness. And in a statement, Gino said, what those 11 championships mean to me is how many great players I've had the opportunity to coach, how many great people have come through the program. It doesn't matter whose name is above or whose name is under. As long as I have those players in my memory, I'm good. And so when you look at something like that, and then he also went on to say there's 3 key ingredients that go into this kind of success. And then he pointed to his 3 seniors. And I guess what he's saying by that, I mean, it takes great leadership in order to pull out these kind of wins, and in order to have a program that keeps winning as long as it has. And so do you guys feel as though with this win? Because I know a lot of people will say, like I've already heard some people, some women, some men have said that this makes Gino Auriemma like the best coach in history with his 11 wins, because that passes John Wooden for most wins in NCAA history. And then do you think Breonna Stewart could arguably be the best women's player or collegiate player we've ever seen? What do y'all think?
Addressing the first question, I mean, it puts him in the discussion for one of the best college coaches to ever do it. He does have more championships than John Wooden now, but John Wooden, that was a hell of a coach.
Yeah.
So it's one of those 1A, 1B situations for me. And then you're always going to look at it. And it's sad to say, but I don't think Auriemma is going to get as much credit as he probably deserves because he coaches women's basketball. As far as Breonna Stewart, she's up there. She's quite possibly the best UConn women's player to ever come out. I think Taurasi just sort of gets the nod because she was the best for so long, and then she went to the WNBA, and she's been one of the best players in the WNBA as well. So I think it's going to be determined whether she was better or not after she goes to the WNBA, and they see if she translates as well as they think she will.
I think Gino Auriemma is top 3 coaches of all time. Any sport you want to put it in, because his resume is just so outstanding. Everything he does is just winning. Like he has his team with 6 undefeated seasons. That's more than all of college basketball combined. That's insane. So you're looking at that, like what he does. He does this. He wins championships. It's not like they do the undefeated and losing the tournament, kind of like a Kentucky did. It's nothing like that. It's when they go undefeated, you already know when the tournament starts who's going to win the national championship. Even back in the time period when you had the Skylar Diggins and the Brittany Grinders in there, you still didn't bet against UConn because that's just how dominant they were of a team, and that's how always they will be, because their recruiting process is amazing, their program is amazing, their coach is amazing, and it makes the players amazing.
All right, what about
Breonna Stewart? I mean, for when you're the only player in women's basketball to win 4 MVPs, basically 4 outstanding players in the tournament. So you're looking at that like, can it happen again with another player that comes in next year? I don't see that happening because to win that as a freshman with the team that they already had, it shows how great she is. So seeing her compare with these other players, she's up there for top women's collegiate player of all time. She's for college. You can kind of look at the same thing when they do it like Tyler Hansbrough, how he's one of the best ACC players of all time, but it didn't translate to the professional level. But as a collegiate player, you have to look at her as potentially the top collegiate player of all time.
All right, Khaled, what do you think?
I think they're both definitely in discussion as the top players. I think Gino, like Rudy said, because he coaches women's basketball, Gino is going to be seen as kind of like they're not going to give him his credit, but you gotta give him his due, because he's coaching women to be undefeated. Like he's making them basically so dominant that they could be arguably some of the best basketball players there are. So, for Brittany, I do think that. Oh, you said Breonna, man. For Breonna, I do think she's one of the best to come out. She definitely has to show herself in the WNBA and see if her skill does translate into professional or the pro league, and then maybe we can give her a tag as being one of the best or being the best. We see how that works out.
Well, I think definitely Gino deserves to be up there in the names of Phil Jacksons, the Red Auerbachs, the John Woodens, because 11 championships, regardless of any sport, is amazing, and it's a feat that is going to get downplayed because it's women's basketball. But the fact that he's had his teams so far better than all the competition, it speaks for itself. It's not like you go from one. The dip between UConn and the other teams is significant. Like UConn is up here, and then number 2 is here. But then number 2 and number 3 and the rest aren't that all far apart. But then you just see how much of a high level he has his team on, and you can't help but acknowledge, and you can't knock them for it either. It's not his fault that he's doing what he's making his team do to win. Like if you go to their practice sessions and see how hard they work, it's no joke. Like UConn's women's basketball practice is real, and I definitely recommend other coaches go find out what they're doing in their practices. They can duplicate the same thing in their program. As far as Breonna Stewart, Khaled, I disagree with you because I don't think if you have a great college career, I don't think what you do in the pros should impact how you are seen in college. Like we would say Reggie Bush was one of the most exciting players in college, but it didn't exactly always translate to the pro level. But so I feel as though even if she doesn't like play great as a WNBA player, she will still be one of the best women's college, arguably the best women's college basketball player ever, because she's the most accomplished. She in her freshman season, she lost 4 games. In her sophomore year, she lost once, and ever since then they've only won. And so you look at things like that, and you sit there. She's more accomplished than Maya Moore, than Tarasi, like we said. It's been so many women. Then Brittany Griner, Skylar Diggins, Lisa Leslie. All these women have played the college game, and you look at it, and she's out. She's had her team played at higher levels and consistently on a winning basis than a lot of these women. So I think it's a fun topic for debate, honestly, because I would like to see if you actually put up all the best women's college basketball players' averages, their accolades and stuff. I'm pretty much sure that Brianna would be looking like she's at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
So I would probably lean towards saying she's the best to have played the game, and especially the best that played in the UConn women's uniform.
Now, as far as the Gino argument, I feel like people need to give him his credit, because this is a team that you can play against WNBA teams and win at least half of those games, which most college teams can't do. This is how talented he has his players playing, and you see his dominance on college. And I mean, every team in the WNBA isn't UConn stacked like that. And I wouldn't even say like they're stacked. They're just that well-rounded of a team that they can play in the WNBA and at least win half the games they play. If they play the same amount of college games, they can win half of those.
You know what? We can debate that another day, because the time restriction. We can't. That is an interesting topic. I remember a few years ago when Alabama was on their roll, a lot of people were saying because Alabama beat the Jaguars at that point in time, because they felt like Alabama was such a dominant college team. But we'll get into that another day. But on to a more serious note. Well, defensive end Greg Hardy had some comments from the other day in his interview with Adam Schefter about his whole domestic violence fiasco. And we're going to play some of those comments for y'all right here, right now, so y'all can hear.
I never put my hand on anyone in my whole entire life. No, sir. That's just not how we raised. It's, as you can tell, like I said, again, it's the Bible Belt. It's just something that's, I wouldn't even say frowned upon. It's non-existent in most Southern homes.
You say you did nothing wrong, you're innocent, and yet the pictures of her that surfaced would seem to suggest a woman who had some type of physical contact. How do you explain that?
I will stop you there and say that I didn't do anything wrong. You know, that situation occurred, and that situation was handled. But saying that I did nothing wrong is a stretch. But saying that I am innocent is correct. Yes, sir.
Did you ever put your hands on her?
No, sir.
Never.
And then he goes on to say no. And then his former teammate Steve Smith Sr. replied back with in a tweet. He tweeted out the interview excerpt that we just played for y'all. And he said, "So I guess she tripped on the carpet or something. My mom is a survivor of domestic violence, and I am an advocate against it." And pretty much it's one of those things that now it's people. Greg Hardy, at this point, he doesn't have a job in NFL. He's a free agent. And even going in deeper into the interview, because that was only about a 43-second clip of the interview, but when Adam Schefter went into the pictures, this is what Greg Hardy said about the pictures. He said pictures are pictures, and they can be made to look like whatever they want to. I didn't say I didn't do anything wrong. That situation occurred, and that situation was handled. But as a man, you can't avoid situations that aren't your fault or are your fault. So, fellas, what do you guys think about obviously this is following, for those who don't know the background story, this is following the accusation against Greg Hardy for having thrown his girlfriend up against the bathroom wall, then having thrown her on the bed with automatic assault rifles under it or on it, and then choking her, and getting very physical with her. This comes after those allegations, in which he was also convicted in a bench trial in 2014, but then it was appealed in 2015, and then the case was thrown out because the girlfriend's name, Nicole Holder, failed to cooperate with the authorities, in which people assumed she was paid off. So what do you guys think about this most recent comments by Greg Hardy about the whole situation? Colin, we'll start with you. What do you think?
The thing about Greg Hardy is he always seems to put himself in just awkward situations, and this whole interview is just not it's not a good interview. I feel like, just for Greg Hardy and his images, because you have even his own teammates coming up to advocate against his comments and stuff like that, or just saying having their own opinion against this stuff, and the fact that he's a free agent now, it just kind of puts it in just a bad kind of situation. Because Greg Hardy, we can assume that because there's not really we don't really we ain't really we weren't there, so we don't know if he did it or did not. But I mean, there's definitely big assumptions or kind of like obvious reasons why we assume that he did do it. And for him to say that he said he didn't hit them or like hurt her or whatever, or he said that he didn't do anything wrong or something. He's definitely in. He's just wrong for trying to. He's saying that he's an innocent man, and we have these pictures, and even your teammates is going against it, and it's just he just needs to keep quiet, basically.
All right,
Like,
let me get to Rudy. Rudy, what do you think? What do you think about Greg Hardy's comments?
I think that Greg Hardy's unstable. I think that he's not right in the head. I do believe that he did put his hands on that woman, and I think he's just trying to do anything that he can to try and clear his name and get back in the NFL again. Um, I'm gonna commend the NFL and all the teams right now for not signing him, for waiting for more information to come out, or not dealing with him at all, because what he did or was accused of doing is unspeakable and it's not right. But this is something he probably should have just kept quiet, like Khalid said. Just keep quiet, keep your face out of the media. Try to keep a low profile, and maybe somebody will think about signing you before training camp starts. Because you doing this to me makes you look more guilty. You going out and having to say I never did that is making me feel as if you might have done it. So that's how I feel about it.
All right, Rashad, what do you think about his comments?
I don't know why everybody's surprised by what he said, because I mean, it's not like he's going to change what he said before he got signed to the Dallas Cowboys. It's not like he's going to change what he said when he was signed to the Dallas Cowboys. So, I mean, nothing really going to change now from what he says. So it's just the same perspective of what we've been seeing from him the whole time. Nothing's different. So for people to act like, oh, maybe he played it, maybe he played the season, maybe he had actually, confessed to whatever he done. I'm not saying what he did was the right thing to do by, continuing to stick what he said and not doing actually when we have evidence of what happened. But I'm not surprised at what he said, because I mean, you're not going to make him change his opinion just because played a season in the NFL, and people think, oh, he needs a job now, so he's going to change what he feels. He's going to say what he said before. He's going to continue to always say what he felt actually happened. So it's like no matter who asks him, no matter who it's going to be the same answer from whoever it is.
Well, to me, it's one of those things that if Greg Hardy could get a job in the NFL, then Ray Rice should definitely have been hired by some team. I mean, the man, Ray Rice, is like 28 years old, and Greg Hardy was 27. I mean, people were talking about he was signed because of his value. And but prior to his year in Dallas, yeah, his value was high because he was one of the pro-eminent defensive ends in the league. And then last year, he only recorded 6 sacks for the Cowboys. So you look at it now, and if a team picks up Greg Hardy, and you see him get a job, I don't understand what reason Ray Rice can have, or for people gonna have to not give Ray Rice a job, because Ray Rice has shown the contrition with the mistake he made, and he's shown the proper amount of remorse. But Greg Hardy hasn't shown any amount of remorse for what he's done at all. And so at this point, I feel like a lot of people are upset about it, because they're like, dang, bro, even when you are now you're a free agent, and at that point in time when you got signed to the Cowboys, we didn't have like at least all this information available to us. So we didn't even have the pictures and everything. Now we have the pictures and all that. We would expect you to be somewhat remorseful to an extent, or at least take ownership of what you did. And then he comes out and says pictures can be made to look like whatever they want to look like, and then says, I never put my hands on a woman. And it's like Steve Smith said, then how did she fall? Like, did she trip on a carpet? Because those were very graphic images of her bruises and the damages done to her body. So you look at things like that, and you're just like, well, you just don't know what to say for the guy. I mean, I agree with Rudy. It seems like sometimes he's a little bit. He's got a few bolts loose up there in the dome. So, do you guys see him getting signed this NFL season by a team? Do you think he'll have a job?
I think talent-wise alone, he'll probably end up with a job, but it might not happen until somewhere midway in the season, or at the very least after training camp. people like to say that a guy is toxic to a locker room or he's this or he's that. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business. They sign people that can get the job done, and he can get the job done. We may not like it as people on the outside looking in. As many groups can protest it as much as they want to, but at the end of the day, he will most likely get signed. Like Alden Smith, he just got signed to a 2-year contract, and he can't even play this year. Like Greg Hardy can play.
Yeah.
So I fully expect him to get signed by someone. Wouldn't be surprised if it was like a Patriots. I would not be surprised if he gets signed by week 8, maybe even sooner. But I do think he'll be on a roster at some point this season. I think there's already been reported interest, but the teams that are interested are trying to keep it hush hush so they don't get flamed in the public eye.
Okay. What do you think, Khalid?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be on the team. Like Rudy said, just because of his talent, he's definitely gonna be on some team, whether or not it's sooner or later. He's definitely gonna be playing by the end of the season.
All right, Rashad.
He's too talented not to play with him. Like the reason people picked him and not Ray Rice is because Ray Rice wasn't as productive as he should have been before the Team 0 point everything came out. So you look at that and you look at Greg Hardy, what he's done, and I mean, even though he missed 4 games last season, and has 6 sacks, that's not that good, but it's not bad either. There's a lot of top DNs that didn't record half a sack a game like during this past season. So you look at it like he's still productive, he still gets the job done, he still helps out a defense. So yeah, he's gonna get signed because there's teams that need defensive ends badly. And you bring someone like that in, and that fills in the play what you need because he can play. He played last season, so he's not like sitting there, couch potatoing it up, being a bum, not getting no reps or anything in. Like he's in the shape right now to play. It's just the teams like right now, a lot of teams don't want to deal with people criticizing them. Well, but he will play.
If the case about production, then shouldn't this be the year he doesn't get picked up? Because if Ray Rice's year's numbers, it wasn't like it was bad compared to the average Joe Lucky running back. I mean, some running backs would be happy to break over 800 yards or so. And then when Ray Rice had that season below 1,000, everybody's like, "Oh, he's damaged goods. We don't need him no more." That and the third. But then when Greg Hardy has a 6-sack season, it's like.
But Greg Hardy didn't play every game in the season.
Neither did Ray Rice.
But it's different because you still didn't break 1,000 is supposed to be. If you're a premier running back and you can play most of the games, which he did, he played most of the games that season. That should be an accomplishment. And if you go from running like 1,500 to not even hitting 1,000 the next year, that throws red flags up.
But if Greg Hardy played most of the year and as a premier sack getter, you get 6 sacks. Because if we're saying Ray Rice didn't play, because think about it. If you take out 16, if you say you just rush for 100 yards a game, and that's about 1,600 yards, and then you take out about 4 of those games of Ray Rice's yards, that could be -4. That could be a minus of 400 yards from he already rushed as a rush leader. Even though I leave him at 1,200, Ray Rice is dangerous because he doesn't just run the ball; they throw him the ball also. So he gets yardage more so as all-purpose yards. So when it comes to things like that, then it's hard to understand why he doesn't get a job, but then Greg Hardy can. Because people like it, yeah. Because a lot of people like pass rushers more than it's honestly it's one of those things that you just sit there and you look at at this point now it seems as though what is the criteria for that? Because if Greg Hardy gets picked up and then Ray Rice doesn't get picked up, how does that make the league look?
What's that to do with it's the teams that want them.
No, it's the teams that want you. But if a
team doesn't want a player,
but team looking for Ray Rice.
That's what I'm saying. There are plenty of teams that need a running back. There's plenty of teams that need a running back. The Patriots would love to have a good running back. When what's it called got hurt, the Patriots could have picked up Ray Rice, but yeah, I could have been Dion Lewis. No, I think it was Dion Lewis. But when Dion Lewis and LeGarrette Blount got hurt, they could have picked up a running back, and nobody picked up Ray Rice. And then the Cowboys picked Greg Hardy up before the pictures came out, before the pictures and all that came out. Now that you hear his comments again, where he's still standing by this position of I did nothing wrong, I'd never put my hands on a woman. can that turn teams off in a sense? And then if a team picks him up, then won't people be looking at the league like, so how come Ray Rice isn't getting picked up? Because if Greg Hardy's gotten a third chance at this point, Ray Rice hasn't even gotten a second. And he is not like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? He's showing more regret. And if we want to talk about drop-offs, I mean, the drop-offs are essentially the same. Then how does that make people on the outside look in and view this league if we're willing to take a guy that hasn't shown any regret, hasn't shown this and that, but just because we're like, man, we might need this running back. Like guys have signed guys off of practice squads before they've signed Ray Rice. And he's actually shown to be something, whereas guys on practice squads haven't necessarily done the same. What were you gonna say, Khalid?
I think it's because the difference of the images and the video. The fact that you actually see Ray Rice like actually hurting this girl,
yeah,
versus seeing Greg Hardy doing like hurting the girl and just having the pictures. I think it does leave bad taste in people's mouths, and they want to pick up somebody who's clearly you see clearly visually with the video that he's done some damage, that he's had domestic violence background, versus Greg Hardy, who's still questionable because you don't see him actually hitting them in the pictures. I mean, it's pretty obvious whether or not he did it or not, but it's just because we don't see him doing it. I think the league can give him more leeway instead.
I'm a piggyback off what Khalid said and say that I think that's the big issue here. Like at the end of the day, we saw a video of Ray Rice dragging his unconscious girlfriend through a hallway. We saw pictures of Greg Hardy's stuff after the fact of him already being signed. And then at the end of the day, regardless of whether she's paid off or not, because we cannot confirm or deny that she was, he was not proven guilty of anything. We see Ray Rice dragging this girl through the hallway. And don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for him to be signed, but the NFL doesn't really care about what the image of a certain player is. As long as they haven't been found guilty of anything, or as long as you can't prove that they did it, they're going to keep getting chances to do things. Even when they are proven guilty of things, if the talent speaks, they're gonna get a chance. Look at Alden Smith. He walked into an airport and said he was going to blow it up, or that he had a bomb, and is continued to get in trouble as far as DUIs and whatnot. And he just signed a 2-year contract. If the talent is there, especially for these teams that are looking at, they want defensive ends and outside linebackers to be these, 6'5", 250, 260-pound guys that can get to the quarterback, regardless of only having 6 sacks last season. He has proven that he could do that before. So it's more of you filling up a positional need with a guy that has a little bit of sketchy character than you filling a positional need with a guy who has Ray Rice has more poo-poo on him than Greg Hardy does, in my opinion. As far as people are going to speak out no matter what against anything that Ray Rice does. They tried to double penalize him for how bad the reaction to him was. And even though his wife can come out and say that, people don't know the full story and this is something they're going to stick together, they're going to work through it because she was wrong too, that's not good enough for people. Like in the public eye, it's like Ray Rice hasn't been punished enough almost to them, and that he doesn't deserve to be back in the NFL. But Greg Hardy is like an anomaly. Like we imagine that he did these things. We do. We imagine he did these horrible things and that he needs to be punished for it. But at the end of the day, he didn't get. There was no verdict.
Well, the bench trial, there was a verdict though. In that bench trial, he was found guilty.
That's the bench trial. But when the big one came up and the girl just stopped cooperating, that's a lot of gray area.
But that's the thing. People are going off of what happened in that bench trial, because once he appealed it, that's why a lot of people are saying, why would she just stop cooperating? And now at this point, she even released a statement to the media saying she just wants to be left. Yeah, she wants to be let alone with her life. Wants to be like he wants everything to just. She just wants to graduate from college, get her degree and stuff like that. But yeah, go on what you were saying.
I mean, and I understand that too, but that plays both sides, because there was the same way she said she wants to go on with her life. There are also those people out there who are going to think, I'm not saying that they're right, but there are people out there going to think, oh yeah, she was faking it. That's why she wants to go on with her life. We know she could have been paid off, but come on, let's really look at the history of the NFL and this image that they're trying to create. Ben Roethlisberger has literally sexually assaulted and or raped up to 3 women, one of which even said she didn't want any money for coming out and reporting him. She just wanted this monster to be off the streets. The police officer that was supposed to interview him and get his take retired the following day and was never heard of again. But we praise him as a great quarterback to this day, and it's not even brought up. So it's one of those things where the NFL doesn't really care what you do. If you haven't been technically found guilty or there's some gray area around what you did and you have talent, you will play. It's the same thing in the NFL draft. These guys have these red flags. They did this, they did that. It might knock their stock down a couple picks. Instead of getting picked 30th, they'll go in the second round, pick number 15. But at the end of the day, they're still going to be in the NFL because if you can play, you will be on a team.
It's just weird. It's one of those things because the video does play a big part in it. The video does play a big part, but to me, even because Ray Rice, think about it, Ray Rice was the initial wave of all the negative NFL stuff that happened last season. So of course he got more backlash and everything from all this because one, he got all the negative publicity of it all, and he's the one that received the suspension that people didn't feel was good enough. So then the uproar had a lot to do with the suspension, with the 2-game suspension initially, and then once they put in this new rule, that then comes along Adrian Peterson with the child thing, and then Greg Hardy, then Alden Smith. And you have all these different guys, you have all this different stuff happening. So what would you guys say that the people have been more disgusted with Ray Rice or with Greg Hardy?
I think people are disgusted with the league over the Greg Hardy situation simply because the way that it was handled.
I don't agree with that.
I mean,
I think a lot of people are really disgusted. A lot from what I've read, especially in the media and what I've watched on a lot of shows, and even like on gossip shows, a lot of people have directed their vitriol towards Greg Hardy because Roger Goodell did his job in suspending him and stuff like that. And then of course the courts, everything happened in court. And a lot of people weren't happy with the Dallas Cowboys for signing him, but that was even before we got the pictures. And now that we have the pictures and all this, and then he comes out not remorseful, I feel as though the public has shown a lot of venom towards him.
Yeah, but they've showed the exact same amount of venom, if not more, towards Ray Rice and continue to do so. There's still, regardless of a bench trial saying what he did, there's still gray area in this situation because the girl stopped cooperating. And when I say that they show more disgust towards the league, I'm not saying as if there's no disgust at all towards Greg Hardy. No one really likes Greg Hardy. People think that Greg Hardy's a shady individual, but at the end of the day, Roger Goodell gave him a punishment that then got reduced. So you sort of you brought down the hammer, but then you like apologized for it and made it a little bit softer. So I think there's equal parts. I think there's equal parts discussed here because yeah, you're disgusted that a human being like this is walking around free with nothing going on essentially to them. Then the people that are supposed to govern him, that it's their job to punish him, and then retract it some, and then have a system in place where he's allowed to appeal the thing that they even retracted to try and get it less. Like that may not be the league's fault that he appealed it, but I think that caused some uproar too. Was like, you already walked back his suspension some, and he already has a contract with a team that's in the league, and now he gets the chance to appeal what you already walked back. So that's what I'm saying. I think that's where some anger and frustration is. There is anger, frustration, and disgust with Greg Hardy, but there's also going to be some with the league for even dialing back the punishment. And there's going to be even more after the fact because again, we didn't have the pictures before, and the pictures came out, and it's like, oh yeah, this is heinous now. But there's nothing you can do about that. That's just a timeline situation.
The thing with the league and the suspension, with the suspension getting overturned, it's not like the league overturned it. The NFLPA appealed it, and then when the NFL Players Association appeals it, then I mean, it's not like the league was like, okay, we're going to scale it back. It's that the Players Association appealed it, and then it kind of got dialed back. That's the same thing that happened with the Tom Brady thing, and then now we've seen this whole court case happen with that, where yeah, you know what I mean. But I definitely understand what you're saying as far as the disgust that people have with Greg Hardy and then the Ray Rice. I just feel as though because Ray Rice's remorse has been open and blatant with his remorse, that a lot of people will warm up to have more so warmed up to the idea of Ray Rice being on their team,
and his wife forgives him.
Yeah,
that's the big thing to me. Like your wife forgives you too.
You know what I'm saying? So
I don't agree that because he had remorse for it, that people don't like it's not as intense as it is for Greg Hardy, because you can look at Michael Vick's situation, how like after he apologized, but now before he went to the Steelers, everybody, like, you had Steelers fans telling him, like, complaining like they weren't gonna watch the NFL no more, or they're not gonna be a Steelers fan no more. And you know how crazy their Steelers fans are.
That's true.
And stuff like that. So it doesn't matter who it is, because no matter what you do, there's gonna be a target group that just dislikes you.
See,
no matter who it is.
I agree with that. You're right. But this is my case for Ray Rice though. There's more of the people that are like, hey, he deserves a second chance. than there are seems of people that are like, you're terrible, blah blah blah. Because even when you look in the media, Michael Vick is seen as one of the best turnaround stories there is. Everybody knows that. Everybody talks about how great of a personality Michael Vick is and everything. You ask people how Michael Vick is as a guy, they'll say he's a stand-up guy, blah blah blah. You ask people about Ray Rice, they'll say he's a stand-up dude, blah blah. He's nice and this and that. But you look at every single. It doesn't matter if it's ESPN, NFL Network. They're talking about this guy is toxic. They're talking about this guy doesn't need to be in the league. People said that after Ray Rice came out with his apology, they were like, you know what? He deserves a second chance because America is the land of second chances. But people don't seem to want it because Greg Hardy got that second chance. And now that he's maintained this position, a lot of people now are saying that, this dude's never going to change. He's never going to realize the error of his ways. So I feel as though the venom towards him is way more intense than it is now. If somebody signed Ray Rice now, of course you're gonna have the people that say blah blah blah, the domestic violence and all this. You're always gonna have those people that just don't want to forgive. But then there's a lot more plenty of those people that are saying, you know what, he deserves a second chance. He apologized. He came out and his wife forgave him. They didn't get a divorce over it. There's gonna be a lot of those people also. But guys, we're gonna move on to the next topic and actually talk about the NBA Hall of Fame. And the most recent, the headlining names of the class of the NBA Hall of Fame are going to be Shaquille O'Neal, Allen Iverson, and Yao Ming. And these guys have been polarizing figures as far as the world of sports for years on years on years. With Allen Iverson being 11-time All-Star, Shaq being 15, and Yao Ming being 11-time All-Star. Shaq running 4 rings in total, and a season MVP along with Allen Iverson. And then Allen getting 4 scoring titles, Shaq having like three or so. These guys are just have been great for the game of basketball, especially growing worldwide. So what have these 3 guys in basketball meant to each of you individually? Rudy, we'll start with you. What do you think? And about them getting inducted in the Hall.
First of all of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So that's not even really an argument on my part. I think all of them deserve it. I think that they made the right decision picking these guys. I don't know who else was up for consideration, but I couldn't really see anybody beating out these 3 as far as being the headliners. I start with Yao Ming. Yao Ming, although there is Dirk Nowitzki and I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, but Yao Ming actually got me interested in like the international game. Like Yao Ming made me like realize that there are people that aren't from the United States that can play basketball. And growing up, there wasn't like many people that I met that didn't like Yao Ming. Like Yao Ming at some point was everyone's not favorite player, but everyone loved him. Everyone would turn on the Rockets when they used to wear the old pinstripes with the Rocket going across with my man Steve Francis, and just to see him and Yao Ming play. Like he's one of the reasons I actually started to love basketball even more. That was when I was growing up. I was a little bit younger. I didn't really watch basketball like that, but whenever Yao Ming was on TV, I wanted to see. I wanted to see Yao Ming, and unfortunately his career ended due to that foot injury that he couldn't really shake. But Yao Ming was a great player, and he was nice to watch. Then you get to my man, the big cactus, the big Shactus, Kazam, whatever you want to call him, the world's strongest man, whatever you want to call him, the Shaq Attack, the big jabber Shacky, whatever you want to call the man. He's one of the greatest big men to do it. Another line in that lineage of Laker great bigs. One of the best personalities to ever come through basketball. Even now as a commentator, one of the better personalities. When he got a doctorate, one of my favorite players of all time. Literally, when you want to be a big man growing up, you should watch tape on Shaq. Shaq has been one of the best players that we had the privilege growing up to see, unless somebody in here didn't watch basketball growing up, that we had the privilege to see. And I think he wholeheartedly deserves it. And then my man, Allen Iverson. Y'all know how I feel about Allen Iverson. One of the most slept on. Allen Iverson had basketball shoes with no shoelaces. Allen Iverson had a basketball shoe with his face on the bottom, and it sold. He's a guy that literally made wearing baggy clothes and having tattoos acceptable. He's the guy who made cornrows popular. His cornrows are popping so good, Kawhi Leonard still got him. Allen Iverson is honestly one of the best things to ever happen to basketball. When you're a rookie and you come in and you drop 25 on Michael Jordan's head, he took a team with Eric Snow to the finals and ended Tyrone Lue's career in one move. And looked at him like he was stupid. Like this man, Allen Iverson, was one of the greatest to ever do it. Allen Iverson was honestly, again, one of those players where I didn't see anyone who Allen Iverson wasn't their favorite. Yeah, Kobe was your favorite. Everyone was like, nah, Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson. Everyone wanted to wear number 3 when they went to rec league. Everybody wanted to be Allen Iverson. And for this guy,
some 8s out there.
There's a couple 8s, but I'm saying every point guard that I knew wanted that number 3.
Right.
Every single point guard wanted that number 3. He literally made being a scoring point guard cool.
Yeah.
Like that was never a thing. He made being a scoring point guard cool. Like you could jack up 20 shots at point guard and nobody look at you weird anymore. As long as you had that headband and them cornrows, we knew that you had to go in. Like,
hey, don't forget the elbow one.
Exactly. He had the elbow thing. Like my man Allen Iverson makes a lot of things that are happening in the NBA right now possible.
Yeah.
Like this whole Steph Curry doing the crossovers, doing that crazy stuff and shooting. Back in the day, they would have looked at him like ball hog. But now Allen Iverson came to the league and changed the game for everyone. Allen Iverson is a player that transitioned from old school to new school seamlessly.
Yeah.
He was dropping buckets. And then, of course, what's going on the practice. Not a game. Not a game, Brendan.
Not a game.
But practice, man. Practice.
I'm here dropping 25 on heads. And you talking about practice.
I'm here dropping 25 on players. I'm talking about practice. What 4-time All-Star, 5-time scoring champ is getting in trouble about practice? Not a game, but practice.
Yeah, man. It's funny. Allen Iverson is great. All right, Rashad, what do you think? What did these guys mean to you?
If you're going, I'm gonna try to go the same order Rudy did. So I can do what he did. You know, you got Yao Ming coming out, and actually one of the most for a player that no one expected to be, he was dominant.
Yeah.
He was not. If he could have stayed healthy, Steve Francis could have stayed healthy, and T-Mac could have stayed healthy, we probably talking about a dynasty there in that Houston Rockets team, because that team was phenomenal. And then, like you said, unfortunately, the injury, like Yao Ming was like that 7-footer. Was like, oh, he's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
He's not gonna be good. And he just came out, and everybody was like, whoa.
That's another Chris Humphrey.
Yeah, that's exactly what they thought. And so, like, you just see everything he's done, and like, for the people who was like, he doesn't deserve to belong in the Hall of Fame, you're tripping. You're crazy. You're wilding. This man is great. Foot injury ruined his career. He would have still been great. Now, Shaq was that big man that made the NBA exciting. Like, you wanted to go see a rim get broken, a backboard get shattered. You wanted to see that happen because Shaq was the man to do it for you. And you see what he did with Kobe, him and that Lakers team, how they created a dynasty, how he won championships, how just Shaq's personality and himself, like Rudy was saying, like everything Shaq was about was favored by people. Just how great Shaq is. And it carries over now to his commentating, and it's even better then because Shaq is he's more off the loose now.
Pretty good rapper.
Hey, pretty good. Remember the album that came out? Hey, don't forget about that album. And then and then my man Allen Iverson, the one dude who could have chose any sport he wanted to play. I mean, went on the football field, won a state championships, just run all over people. Then you got to come out of basketball, dropping points on everybody's heads. Allen Iverson's such a savage. When they changed the rules, you had to wear suits. He said, "What suit?" So he said, "What suit?" I'm wearing my baggy clothes still, and they did nothing about it. That's how you know you're a savage. Still wearing the baggy clothes. Hey, for the Hall of Fame picture, everybody was in suits, but Allen Iverson.
He had 4 chains on, a white tee, baggy pants, and some Air Force One.
That's how much of a savage you are.
Cocaine whites, to be exact. Not the high top, the low top.
All right, Rashad, keep going.
So you look at it like that's just how great it is and everything like that and what he's done, how great of a scorer he's been. You know, at times where he's averaging 30, carrying his team, it's just crazy to see. And that so this Hall of Fame class is well deserving.
All right, Khaled, what do you have to say about these 3 guys?
I mean, the time in the league, their whole experience is unspoken. I mean, you already know what it is. Yao Ming, the first face, the international face of the league, he came in and dominated and just being that guy that everybody loved. The fact is he was an American, so everybody gave him that love. And it was crazy because he's from a whole different place. He was completely different from us, but he still came in the game. He was holding it down defensively. Him and the Rockets, they were just winning. They were just doing their thing. And sadly he did in his career on foot injury, and he didn't get any championships. But he still had an amazing run, and he still did what he just did. He had an amazing time in the league. AI, that man, get everything to AI. He just changed the league visually. The whole baggy jeans, tattoos, the cornrows, like Rudy said. Make Kawhi Leonard keep his, and just the whole experience. AI was just crazy. His cross up game. He did Michael Jordan dirty. Ended Tyronn Lue career. Sadly, we'll do that to that man, and he's just one of the best players to ever do it. Scoring first, scoring for his point guard. And he's just a phenomenal player, just fun to watch. People love it. Oh my god. And Shaq. Oh, Shaq. People still love Shaq to this day. His commentating is one of the funniest. Him and Charles Barkley. That whole dynamic with them is just hilarious.
I love watching Inside the NBA. I love watching.
Bruh, it's just amazing. And you can't slouch his game either. He was one of the most dominant big men in the game. He owned the post. He went to several teams and won championships. So he was just a winner. The whole thing about him being a big man, and he just knew how to play the game.
Yeah.
And Shaq is just one of those players that you just got to give him endless props because he came in, breaking baskets, breaking the glass. So that's just how I feel about it.
See, Yao Ming definitely has been one of the most transcendent foreign players to play this game. Not even he was productive, but just the impact he's had on human life and what he's done as a humanitarian. If people knew what he's done for the nation of China, India, all these places, what he's done for elephant preservation. Yao Ming's one of the greatest people you'll ever meet, ever talk to. Ginormous people, one of the most ginormous people you ever meet too. Mm-hmm. And you hear all these guys when they talk about a Yao Ming, and you talk about, Michael Jordan might have been what was popping coming into the 90s. He was the guy that made basketball a global thing because he made the Jordan brand a global thing. And then Kobe might have been the international guy. Everybody's like, we love Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Like coming into the 2000s. Yeah, because Kobe, Kobe was the more popular in China than Yao Ming was. But Yao Ming, what he's done for these places, like he's made it, him and players like Dirk Nowitzki and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker have made it. So when you find these foreign guys, you realize that there's talent in these foreign places. And now you see a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. You see some Yao Ming in him. You see some Dirk in him. And you see the way that these guys have affected this game. And Yao Ming definitely has left his imprint on the game. He well deserved the Hall of Fame. And like we said, the foot injury, unfortunately, it plagues a lot of bigs. And it's unfortunate his career ended that way. But it's good to see that he's taken it beyond basketball to advance his humanitarian efforts. Then Allen Iverson, man. I never forget being a kid watching the 2001 finals. It's 2001 finals. And of course, I'm a Laker fan. And I'm sitting here watching this game, and I'm watching game one. I'm just like, what on earth? What is going on? I'm like, we have the way more dominant team, the better team. We have Kobe Bean Bryant. We got the Diesel. We got the MDE. He's most dominant ever. We got the big Aristotle. There we go. And then this man, Allen Iverson wins them a game. I was like, oh no. Oh no, Allen Iverson, even though Jordan was essentially the one who started the baggy shorts and everything like that in basketball, but when he because Jordan would buck the whole system of having to wear the short shorts, he wasn't doing it after he wasn't doing it. And then Allen Iverson was the guy that, because Jordan, I never forget what somebody said. I think it might have been Chris Brown who said Jordan is basketball, but Allen Iverson was the guy that manufactured basketball because of the way he made us view basketball differently. He was a miniature guy. Cool. Yeah, he made it so cool. Like you saw Bow Wow had the cornrows, and then it was no coincidence. It was no coincidence that him and Bow Wow were in the Like Mike movie with one another. And then he said boo. But Allen Iverson did make the whole. You saw after Allen Iverson got his tattoos, we started seeing a wave of NBA players getting tattoos. Now you see everybody have arm sleeves, they got the whole chest thing. Allen Iverson was the guy that brought that in. Because Allen Iverson's been through a lot of controversy in his career. It's not like he hasn't had his controversy at Georgetown, everything that's gone down when he got incarcerated. Allen Iverson's been through a lot, and it's when you see how he's gotten to this point. It's one of those things. His underdog mentality is how he's been his whole life. He's from this Newport News area, and he comes back and visits Virginia from time to time. You know what I mean? And he always has made it a point to come back and not be one of the guys, because you see why Allen Iverson never wears the suits. He doesn't like wearing he always makes sure he wears his baggy clothes, because Allen Iverson takes it personally to always be sure that he never turns his back on the people from the hood. And he never wants to be that guy that he goes back to the hood and they're like, you're a sellout, because he knows that's where he came from. While some people might view that as, hey, that's controversial, blah, blah, blah. He always wanted to make sure he could come home and be able to go into any hood. Because Allen Iverson's the guy that can go into Compton. Nobody's going to say nothing to Allen Iverson. That's Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say that for all these NBA guys. A lot of these guys will get stopped like, yo, who you with? You know what I'm saying? But Allen Iverson's the one guy, he don't got to be with anybody. Allen Iverson can walk through Compton by himself. He can walk through the freaking Harlem by himself. He can walk through anywhere. He can walk through the Bronx by himself. Allen Iverson, nobody's touching Allen Iverson. He's that one guy that nobody's gonna trifle with. Then you look at Shaq. Shaq's impact. Shaq. I mean, arguably the most dominant guy to play the game. Are just him and Kareem and Michael, most dominant players to be in the game. There's a reason why people talk about this Golden State team and them playing the Bulls. It's interesting to talk about if Golden State could have beat the Lakers of that time. And then because who's going to stop Shaq? You know what I'm saying? And then it's interesting. I remember a few years ago, Shaq was saying that the Lakers could have beat that Bulls team. And you look at those kind of things, and it's because, and we all make it a debate because who's guarding Shaq? Like Shaq was unstoppable, and Shaq's also been one of those guys who made his antics and his fun, his jokes. Him and Kobe, if they would have stayed together, you argue they could have won for more rings. But Shaq has always been that fun guy. And it looks like Rudy wants to say. What do you want to say, Rudy?
Who's guarding Derek Fisher? The real glue to that team.
Anyway,
don't ignore
Shaq
me.
Shaq was a great. He won 3 championships with the Lakers. Won one with the Miami Heat, and then he's a Finals MVP 3 times with the Lakers. You look at Shaq's career. I mean, he's one of those guys, the stand-up guy, like Khalid alluded to earlier. You have to watch him and Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA every Thursday night. It feels like, or whatever they air the games on TNT, because those guys are always hilarious. Him, Kenny Smith, Ernie Johnson, those guys are all so funny, and it's just like a perfect crew. And Shaq has always just been that guy that brought that fun to the team. And you ask different teammates. You ask LeBron James, you ask Kobe, you ask Derek Fisher, you ask all these guys, and they say Shaq is definitely one of the best go-lucky, go-happy, fun guys. And he also was a mean competitor. And Shaq made it. Shaq was one of the people that made it cool for the big guys. Like his time in Orlando, he made it cool for the big guys to dribble the ball up the court, to run the fast breaks. Shaq did all those things. Man broke rims. We haven't seen anybody do that since. They had to adjust it because of Shaq.
Breakaway rims.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He broke rims. He broke backboards. The dude was so dominant. He just couldn't be stopped. Yeah, so congratulations to those 3 on making the NBA Hall of Fame 2016 class. It's well-deserved. Their careers have, they'll be transcendent beyond the game for years to come. But we're going to touch on this last topic real quick. The Golden State Warriors lost last night to the Timberwolves, 124-117. Yeah, and exactly. Yeah, we called it on here, talking about the Timberwolves were not a team to sleep on. So now that they've lost this game, the funny thing is now the Warriors have the same record as the Bulls did through 78 games. So do you guys see them still being able to break this record? Because now it seems that the stat shows they have a 56% chance, I believe, of either getting the record or breaking it. It's 56% chance now that they lost to the Timberwolves. And now, like we said, they have 2 more games against San Antonio and Memphis. And Memphis is a team you can't sleep on either. That's a tough and grit team also. I mean, they don't exactly. And then, of course, you got San Antonio, who now it's not looking like they're resting their guys because they played Utah last night and played all their guys. So now you're sitting there like, oh, man, they're not resting. It's like they're resting. So what do you guys think about because now the Warriors got to go 4-0. So what do you guys think about the loss yesterday? Carl, let's start with you. What do you think?
After losing to the Timberwolves, I don't think they're going to get the record. Because now you have to go to Memphis and play a Grizzlies team who's tough, who's rugged, and who just don't let you win at home. Same thing with San Antonio, who knows how to play your game, who can adjust for you, and who's also been the top pick for you to be the one to beat you. So I think playing away at Memphis and then San Antonio would definitely give them, either one of them would give them a loss. I don't think they're going to get that record after the Timberwolves loss.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Rudy, what do you think?
I want to start off by saying nailed it. We said that there was a chance they would lose the Timberwolves game on here on Monday, correct? Mm-hmm. On Monday. I got the name wrong. I said Wiggins, it's nothing for him to drop 30, 40 points, and it was Shabazz Muhammad. So
Wiggins dropped 32, I think.
Wiggins was up there, but Muhammad led him in scoring, which was a shock, honestly, because what has he really done? I mean, he's been averaging something like 13 or 14 points or something like that, but no one expected that. But I'm saying the same thing I said on Monday. No, I don't think they're going to get the record. I think they could tie it depending on how the Spurs feel. If the Spurs feel like not letting them tie it, they won't tie it. But I don't think that they're going to get it. They have to beat, especially after the back-to-back, once they have to play Memphis and then play the Spurs the following day. I think that's where they're going to slip up. So No. Long story short, no. And this is a great win for a Timberwolves organization that seems to be going in the right direction.
All right, Rashad, before I get to you, I haven't been reading the comments from the Rabblecast. Sorry about that. But D Sizzle commented and said, I think it's because running backs are more a dime a dozen. And he's alluding to the past topic about Greg Hardy a couple topics ago, and then get old fast. Defensive end is a much higher profile. Also, let's not discount the fact that Jerry Jones is involved in one of these scenarios. So that's a complete wild card. We watched the PR punch. We watched the PR punch, or Ray Rice punch his girlfriend in the face over and over and over. Not that it's any better or worse, but it factors in. I think a lot of people are disgusted with both, and then they promptly put their jerseys on and watch every game every week. That's true. All right, Rashad, what do you have to say about the Warriors?
I mean, you guys called it. You said it's going to take Andrew Wiggins to drop 40 and then Karl Towns to show up, which they did with Shabazz showing up as well. It doesn't affect anything. The Bulls did it. So, I mean, the Bulls finished out 3-1 this way. I think the Warriors can finish out 4-0. It's going to happen. I still have faith in them breaking the record. I'm not going to change my standpoint. I stand strong. I'm like Greg Hardy. I stand strong to my opinion.
Oh, no, you don't want to align yourself.
Yeah, I think you could have said somebody better. I think you could have said Allen Iverson.
He's the only person who hasn't changed his opinion.
You could have said Allen Iverson.
What I said.
Allen Iverson has to change his stance.
I have two things to say before we get off.
Go ahead.
Calling back to the Allen Iverson thing. Just to speak to how great he was. And again, I am a huge Allen Iverson fan, but he debunked something that your parents teach you as a kid and your coaches teach you as a kid. There is no I in team. Allen Iverson proved that there can be an I in the word team by taking that team all the way to the championship and winning that game. And then number two, and this could maybe be a topic for another day, possibly as we get closer to the end of the semester and towards the draft. How dangerous can this Timberwolves team be? Because if you think about it, they're going to get a high draft pick. Mm-hmm. They have Zach LaVine at point guard because, Rubio's probably going to be trade bait. They have Wiggins at shooting guard. What happens if, let's say, they get their hands on a Brandon Ingram and make Shabazz Muhammad come off the bench? Karl Anthony Towns is a double-double machine leaning towards triple-doubles here at the end of the year. Exactly. So what happens if they get their hands on a Brandon Ingram to play small forward? And then there is no dominant big. But
I remember a quote that Stephen A. Smith always alludes to with Allen Iverson. He said that, hey, Stephen A. brings up, every time he talks about Allen Iverson on First Take, he always brings up the story. Stephen A., if I pass Eric Snow the ball, Eric Snow passes it to another teammate. That teammate passes it to another teammate. And it takes about 8 seconds to get the ball up over half court, right? To avoid the 8-second call, I get the ball to him. He gives it to somebody else. That person gives it to another person. They get the ball back to me with 5 seconds left. Stephen A., there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock. I'm gonna take the damn shot. What do you think this is? I do the same thing in 2K. When the shot clock is winding down, I pass it to somebody else. I'm not getting that shot on my record. AI had no problem taking that shot. So this thing about being a ball hog, I mean, that factors into it. A lot of times, Allen Iverson didn't have the team to back him up. But as far as Golden State goes, goodness gracious, because now it's like two teams that you just can't sleep on. But then I feel as though Golden State has had this little lax, because I know they're just ready for the regular season to be over. They're just like, we're so tired of this regular season. We're just ready for it to be done. And so goodness gracious, this is whenever you pick against Golden State, they always prove you wrong. Like it's happened every single time. Thought the Thunder were going to beat them. Nope. Even when you pick against Golden State, sometimes they lose. You pick the Lakers to beat them, or pick them to beat the Lakers. Lakers beat them. It's Memphis is such a tough team, even though they don't have Marc Gasol, they still because every single time now, every team is playing them to beat this record. When the Bulls played these teams, the Bulls weren't aiming for any record; they were just playing. So now every single team is like, okay, now the pressure of winning the record is on them. But that same pressure might make them play at a higher level. So I mean, I'll agree with Rashad. They probably break it, honestly. San Antonio's was killing me. San Antonio's honestly was killing me. If they play San Antonio both times, it's hard for me to believe that they'll beat San Antonio 2 times, especially when one of them is a back-to-back in San Antonio. And San Antonio has their home winning streak going. So if I had to pick a game for them to lose, it'd probably be that game. But I'd agree.
Nobody picked the Celtics to end the streak of Golden State, though. So I mean, streak don't mean nothing at times like this.
You're right, but the only reason why nobody picked this, that's the reason why Golden State was vulnerable. because nobody saw it coming. They didn't even see it coming. Coming out of the All-Star break, nobody saw Portland coming. They beat them. When the Golden State sees a team coming, they've always been prepared for that team. Even though San Antonio beat them last time at home, Golden State was without a couple of guys, so that they still were competing in that game. So it's always one of those things. Golden State gets up for the elite teams. They never sleep on the elite teams. So you could say San Antonio is one of the elite teams. I just don't know, honestly. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's show, y'all. It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day, coming to you on WODU Studios, the best in college radio. Tune in to us every Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. And also check out our Twitter page at KBR_sports, where you can tweet us live during the show or tweet us after the show also, and comment during our YouTube streams, and also comment on Rabble TV like D Sizzle did. And also listen to us on Rabble and Spreaker and iTunes. And make sure if you guys want to join on the debate, the number 757-683-4405. All right, everybody, y'all have a great day.